Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to kick off a brand new theme this week as we always do on Mondays. This one though, given the month, let's do a week for Pride. We'll do 10 songs for this theme, which means we won't be doing any special selection, but we will have 2 videos every day. We're going to kick it off with some Vokonis. I've never heard of this group before, but usually that's a pretty good thing. I love exploring new bands and new sounds. This song is called Pink Fang, coming off of their 2024 album, Transitions. Let's dive in and see what Vokonis is bringing to the table today. Ooh, some crunchy dissonance in there. Dude, that is very groovy. Yeah, very tasty drum work here as well. Such a massive guitar tone on this track. And the unification of all the instruments here really makes it feel like we're filling the space very well. Getting a lot of mileage out of creating variations on this one riff idea. Just such a big sound that sits underneath its entire song. Wrapping the song up on the intro idea. Okay. Yeah, very cool song right there. I mean, the one thing I want to talk about, I think that dominates a lot of this track is theme and variation and getting as much as you can out of one idea. So a lot of this song has that dun dun da 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 dun dun da 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 da, and it has a slower pulse, then a faster pulse, and a slower pulse, and a faster pulse. And even looking at that da 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 da, at the beginning, the first two times we hear it, it's rising notes da 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 da. But the third time we hear it, there's actually harmony on it. The fourth time we hear it, there's an isolated pitch, but it's higher than the first two times. So even within the first 15 seconds of the song, we don't hear it the exact same way more than twice in a row. There's always something on it to develop it, to change it, to add on to it. This rhythm, da-da-da-da-da-da, we'll actually hear this all throughout the song. It crops up in the verse, it crops up in that post-chorus into the first bridge. It pops up a little bit in the guitar solo in the second bridge, and we bring it back in the outro. It is consistently referenced throughout the track in new contexts with new framework. Rarely do we hear the exact same thing, but the rhythm comes back. New pitches, new movements. Sometimes it's rising, sometimes it's falling, sometimes it's in this pitch range, sometimes it's in this pitch range. It changes, but it is always there, tying different parts of the song together. It is one of those things that I talk about quite often when it comes to more minimalistic writing, getting as much punch out of your writing as you can, just writing efficient writing too. Having your composition, putting as little new ideas into it while still ensuring that it feels developed and contained and has synergy between the parts and continues to feel fresh as we move through the song. You really can't get more efficient than theme and variation, and that's exactly what we see here. And we hear it in the drums, we hear it in the guitar, we hear it a little bit in the bass when they line up with the guitars. It's used a lot in this track, but I think for really great effect. It isn't lazy writing. In fact, it's the opposite. It's ensuring that there is this recurring theme that holds everything together and feels interesting and fresh every time it comes back. That's good writing right there. So I really enjoy that. Another part in this song that I think had really good writing, understanding where we were and where we are going and trying to connect multiple parts of the track, is actually the chorus into the guitar solo, that second bridge. The vocalist had just done their melody line. We've gotten to hear some of those key notes. And key notes are the ones that really showcase the movement in your melody, but also the ones that your emotional resonance are hingent upon, the ones that are most focused on the chord progression itself. Everything else helps to move the melody along, but these keynotes are the ones that dictate the flow, the passage, the understanding. Usually they are also your accent points. They're the ones that get hammered home the most. Dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 da. Those are your keynotes. The ones that have a little bit more emphasis to them emotionally, harmonically, and rhythmically. And so we hear this series of keynotes out of the melody, and then the guitar takes over while the vocalist is holding out this last note. Nice little bit of overlap to transition from one section into the next. But the guitar picks up, and the melody is a little different, but the keynotes are all the same. And they're basically doing a variation on what the vocalist had just laid down as the hook of the song. What's cool is that the guitarist takes this as a jumping off point, not something to return to and completely, loop over and over, shifting around the passing tones between, but sticking with these core sets of keynotes, but instead just uses it to jumpstart their own ideas. They use it basically as melodic transition to say, this is where we were. I'm going to showcase a little bit of stuff with that, and we're going to use that and most of the passing tones within here to develop my ideas and help pull the listener into this next section. It is a wonderful idea, and I think the guitar solo itself, beyond that simple transition idea, also works rather well. I think the movement within it, the pacing, pulling me along through the story, starting out a bit with longer notes and kind of holding some stuff out and setting the mood before going for faster ideas, going from, half notes to quarter notes to eighth notes to that. I think it was 16th notes. I don't think that was tremolo strumming. But, ramping up the intensity over time, it's this gradual rising, a linear escalation across this that all feels like it didn't come out of nowhere, but it came from that vocal melody. I think the guitar even started in that same range before dipping down a little bit, almost saying, okay, vocalist, this is where you're at. We're going to continue your idea a little bit. We're going to take things down a little bit so that we can bring it back up. And it's just like, yeah, the phrasing, the melding of all of the molding of all of that. I mean, it's just excellent. And listening to that, I think maybe you could dismiss it. Oh, the guitarist was just, they were playing whatever. But I think when you actually look at it within the context of the entire song and understand how they use composition, specifically melodic composition, to tie so much of this track together, I don't think you can do that. You have to come at it from the idea that it was intentional to help transition from that chorus, because there's too much in this song that constantly looks back to where we've been and wonders, hey, how can we use some of this? How can we bring something back from that? And it just works. This is, in a sense, this is a simpler song, right? There's only a couple riffs to it. We have a verse and a chorus pattern. It's catchy, it's groovy, but it's not what I think anyone would call progressive metal or anything like that, or progressive rock in this case. But they take that little extra step and say, yeah, we do things a little on the simpler side, but we're going to keep it interesting. And we're going to write stuff that brings everything together. It's not just radio rock. And I'm not to put radio rock down either, but we take that extra step. We go that extra little bit, and we bring in a little bit more composition to the table. And I really hope I dig into this album, I can hear more of that very conscious composition in their writing, and that this isn't a one-off situation for that. Because, like I said, to me, it showcases a composition style that's very aware of what came on around it and tries to bring everything together. Now, aside from that, I brought up rock, and I do feel like this is a alternative rock area of music. Very driving, though, but it's also super sludgy. I think it really comes down to that guitar tone. Y'all know the one I'm talking about. It got showcased for a moment in this song. It is low, it is gritty, it is crunchy, it is massive. And it comes with this super groovy dum da dum dum. It's just like, oh, it's got so much, a little bit of syncopation in it, but it just drives so much forward. And it's, once again, you look at how many different pitches are in it. Not a lot. It's a simple riff, but it is so freaking effective. And it sounds great. And honestly, at the end of the day, when it comes to rock and metal, yes, you can write stuff that is entirely complex. But you can also just write stuff that is simple and awesome. And that's one of the cool things about rock and metal, I think, in particular, is that they really exist on both sides of the spectrum. Um, and here we have a song that, yeah, it's a little on the simpler side, but it is so good at what it does. It knows what it is, and it leans into that hard. And they come off with riffs like this and guitar tones that just really sell this sludgy catchiness. It is fantastic. And this is just, the backbone of the song. It's what sits on the bottom alongside the bass and provides the foundation. And right from that small single part of the song, you can already feel the greatness. They understand what to do with this part. Building off of that simple, but they got the catchiness baked into the core identity of the track. And that's excellent. Moving on to another instrument that I thought was excellent was the drum work. There is some really cool cymbal work going on in here, some nice patterns that are a bit outside of the standard fare for this style of music. Some really cool and fancy cymbal work going on that I enjoyed. The bass got to show off a little bit in the middle of the song, but for the most part, pure support, pure foundation for that. And if everyone else is kind of going off, sometimes you just got to be that foundation. Without you, the song falls apart. It's a really important role, even if it isn't as glamorous. But yeah, I mean, the bass sounds great, goes along with that guitar. They really fill out the low end. They are the foundation of this track together. Um, and then you just got the catchiness on top of that. The vocals sound great, catchy hook in the chorus. I think my only problem is the vocals sound a little weak in the production, not in the delivery. I think that's fine. It just feels a little underproduced, especially given how big everything else sounds on this track. It's kind of weird that the vocals can kind of get lost in the mix, although that might just be me coming at it from more of a, pop, radio, rock, mainstream perspective on production. And maybe getting lost in the mix is exactly what they're aiming for. A bit more of that raw indie rock sound as far as vocal placement goes. Regardless, as far as the composition is, what's on paper, this is an extremely solid track, and I'm gonna have to check out some more Vokonis because, yeah, I was kind of sold on this. Alternative rock with a little bit of sludge metal in it is a very cool combo, and I have nothing but praise for their ability to tie a song together from start to finish. And it's just not too often in the alternative rock area that you see call and response, not call and response, that you see theme and variation present, and carrying over ideas from one melodic line to another. So like I said, that sort of conscientious composition style, I think, stands out quite a bit in this realm. So yeah, they've got my attention. They're on my radar now. I started this day thinking, hey, I don't know who Vokonis is. Let's find out. And I'm ending it with, let's find out some more. Let me dig into their discography. Let me hit some lyrics on this, and then we're going to wrap this one up. All right, so the lyrics are a bit on the vague side. There's only a couple of lines for the two verses. Everything else is the chorus, which is basically just two lines repeated multiple times. I think this is a very personal song, and if I understood what Pink Fang meant to the lyricist, or maybe in the larger scope of things, maybe this is a concept album and the Pink Fang is explained elsewhere on the album. I might be able to glean a little bit more information from it, but as of right now, the chorus pretty much means nothing to me because it seems to be hinged on understanding what the Pink Fang is. The verse says, looked in the mirror to find no one's looking back. Revelations in the script, can you see me now? It's never enough. The second verse says, trust in myself to see another reason to be. If I found you in the dark, would you see me now? There's nothing to say. I find this interesting because both of them seem to be about seeing someone, but the someone seems to be another side of themselves. It starts off with looking in a mirror and not seeing their reflection. But the idea of seeing things, can you see me now? Trust in myself to see. If I had found you, would you see me now? And kicking it off with a reflection makes me think that it's possibly some sort of conversation with who you are on the outside versus who you are on the inside. Maybe trying to be a more authentic version of yourself and not knowing how to display that. Maybe in a case, not even knowing what that is, just knowing that you feel this dissonance between who you present yourself to be and who you feel you are. But here's where the chorus kicks in. It says, take the steps, wearing your pink fang. Pouring rain, it's never enough. Now, pouring rain is also in capitals, both words. So maybe that is some sort of specific thing as well, just like the pink fang. I don't know. But there's also the end of the first verse, it's never enough. The end of the chorus, it's never enough. The end of the second verse, there's nothing to say. There's this negative element that accompanies this feeling of not being seen or not being able to find oneself. Almost as if they feel that maybe they can't. Maybe there is no hope for this eventual future where that schism, that division between their two selves is removed. But I mean, this is all guesses. This is, I'm looking at a couple of key things and trying to extrapolate from there. I really think it's kind of a shaky understanding of the lyrics, but it's the best I have given how little is said and how much appears to be hinged on the Pink Fang and the pouring rain, which those sentences are repeated 4 times each. So, yeah, I wish I could say a little bit more about this. And any way of like bringing this back to the music, I don't know, man. This might just be one of those cases. Even if I think I understood what the song was going for, lyrically, I don't know that there's a lot in the music that focuses on this division, or of feeling lost or not being able to find something. The music seems to be pretty sure of itself, singular and driving forward. But I do think that this evolution of the main motif throughout the song may be this idea of representing one thing as multitudes, which is kind of relevant to what's going on lyrically too. But I could just be grasping at straws here. My understanding of the lyrics are too loose for me to really say that that's an intentional element of the songwriting. But I don't know if any of you have any thoughts on this. Let me know. If you've seen an interview with Vokonis and they have extrapolated on the lyrics of this song, please direct me to that. But these right here are my thoughts on Vokonis's Pink Fang. Let me know what you thought of this, if there's anything that stood out to you, anything that you would like to add on to what I said or correct me on. Let me know if you have your own perspective or interpretation of this or anything else that you'd like to add. Put all of that stuff down into the comments section. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all 3 of those. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.